Good afternoon, Captain.
Auckland Airport Information Foxtrot, 2335 Zulu, wind tree 20 at 5, visibility 10 miles or more, rain, few clouds at 2,800, ceiling 7,000 broken, 8500 broken, temperature 14, dew point 12, QNH0988, VFR conditions, landing and departing runway 2, tree left. Transition level 150. Advise on initial contact you have information Foxtrot. Auckland Airport Information Foxtrot, 2335 Zulu, wind tree 20 at 5, visibility 10 miles or more, rain, few clouds at 2,800, ceiling 7,000 broken, 8500 broken, temperature 14, dew point 12, QNH0988. VFR conditions, landing and departing runway 2, tree left. Transition level 150. Advise on initial contact you have information Foxtrot. Auckland Airport Information Foxtrot, 2335 Zulu, wind tree 20 at 5, visibility 10 miles or more, rain, few clouds at 2,800, ceiling 7,000 broken, 8500 broken, temperature 14, dew point 12, QNH0988. VFR conditions, landing and departing runway 2, tree left. Transition level 150. Advise on initial contact you have information Foxtrot.
New Zealand 515, request IFR clearance to Christchurch Airport.
New Zealand 515, Auckland delivery. Expect runway 2, tree left, lever 2. Papa departure with the IGBAT transition. Initial climb to 6,000 feet. Squawk 57 for tree.
Levra 2 Papa departure with the IGBAT transition. Squawk 5743. New Zealand 515.
New Zealand 515, read back correct. Contact ground 121.9er when ready for push or start.
Ground 121.9er when ready. New Zealand 515.
New Zealand 637, gate 17, request pushback.
New Zealand 637, Auckland ground, pushback approved, face east.
Pushback and engine start approved, face east, New Zealand 637. New Zealand 169 Lima, gate 23, request pushback.
New Zealand 169 Lima, Auckland ground, pushback and engine start approved, face east.
Pushback and engine start approved, face east, New Zealand 169
Would you mind
Lima.
checking the SIDS and starters? Heading out for my checks.
New Zealand 637, taxi for departure.
New Zealand 637, runway 23 left, taxi via Bravo, Alpha, Alpha 1.
Runway 23 left, taxi via Bravo, Alpha, Alpha 1, New Zealand 637. New Zealand 169 Lima, request taxi to the active.
Walk around completed.
New Zealand 169 Lima, runway 23 left, taxi via Alpha, Alpha 1.
Runway 23 left, taxi via Alpha, Alpha 1, New Zealand 169 Lima.
New Zealand for 24, gate 17, taxi via Alpha 8, Alpha Bravo.
Gate 17 via Alpha 8, Alpha, Bravo, New Zealand 424.
New Zealand 169 Lima, contact Auckland Tower 118.7. Have a good day.
Over to Tower 118.7, New Zealand 169 Lima.
Cockpit preparation checklist. Cockpit preparation.
Completed.
Fuel 4288 kilograms.
Checked.
Passenger sign.
New Zealand 637,
On.
contact Auckland
How
Tower
are you?
118.7.
Nav. Aero reference.
Over
Check.
to Tower 118.7,
FFGS.
New Zealand 637. Have a good day.
Departure briefing. It will be a left seat takeoff from November, Zulu, Alpha, Alpha, 2. November, Zulu, Charlie, Hotel. Taxi route is per ATC instructions. We'll be departing on runway 23, left. Climbing via the departure procedures to an initial altitude of 6,000 feet. Standard reject and emergency procedures apply. Any questions?
No.
Completed.
Cockpit preparation checklist completed.
New Zealand 515, Gate 14, request pushback.
New Zealand 515, Auckland ground, pushback approved, face south.
Pushback approved. Face south, New Zealand 515.
Dear passengers, this is to inform you the aircraft doors have been closed. In order to push back on time, all passengers must be seated with your seatbelts fastened. All luggage must be stored in the overhead bin or under the seat in front of you. The cabin crew will be passing through to make their final safety checks before pushback. Thank you and welcome aboard.
Can you ask the ground crew to remove the chocks? Before start checklist. Parking brake.
Set.
Takeoff speeds. B1 147. BR 147. B2 148.
Checked.
Doors.
Closed.
Beacon lights.
On.
Before start checklist completed. Ground from cockpit.
Go ahead.
Ready for pushback.
Connecting tug. I'll let you know when the pin's inserted. Steering inserted, release parking brake. Starting push. Cleared to start engine.
Starting engine 2.
Emirates 6, Papa Tango Super, ramp 17, right taxi via Alpha 10, Alpha Lima.
Ramp 17 right via Alpha 10 Alpha Lima Emirates 6 Papa Tango Super.
Engine 2 started.
Stopping pushback. Set parking brake. Tow bar disconnected. See you on the left side with the pin. Have a great flight.
Thank you. We'll look for you on the left side with the pin.
Chatham 401 at ramp 70, request pushback and engine start.
Chatham for 01, Auckland ground, hold position for traffic.
Hold position for traffic, Chatham 401.
Engine 1 started. All engines stable. After start checklist. Anti-ice.
Set.
ECAM status.
Checked.
Trim.
Set.
After start checklist completed.
New Zealand 515, request taxi to the active.
New Zealand 515, runway 23 left taxi via Delta Alpha, Alpha 1.
Runway 23 left taxi via Delta Alpha, Alpha 1, New Zealand 515.
New Zealand 009 Mike.
Clear on the right.
Ramp 27.
Clear on the
Request
left.
Pushback.
New Zealand 009, Mike, Auckland ground, pushback and engine start approved, face south.
Pushback and engine start approved. Face south. New Zealand 009 Mike.
Chatham for 01, Auckland ground, pushback and engine start
Taxi
approved,
checklist.
face north.
Flight control test.
Pushback
Full
and engine
left.
start approved, face
Neutral.
north, Chatham 401.
Full right. Neutral. Full back. Neutral. Full forward.
Checked.
Flaps.
Set.
Radar PWS. Engine mode.
Set.
ECAM memo.
Takeoff no blue.
Brake test.
Checked.
Taxi checklist completed. From the flight deck, we wanted to welcome you on board and thank you for flying with us today. We're anticipating an on-time departure, so just sit back, relax, and we'll have you in the air shortly.
New Zealand 009 Mike. Request taxi.
New Zealand 009 Mike, runway 23 left, taxi via Charlie 5, Bravo, Alpha 1.
Runway 23 left taxi via Charlie 5, Bravo, Alpha 1, New Zealand 009 Mike.
Chatham 401, request taxi.
Chatham for 01, runway 2, tree left taxi via Delta, Alpha 1.
Runway 23 left taxi via Delta, Alpha 1, Chatham 401.
New Zealand 515, contact Auckland Tower 118.7.
Contact Tower 118.7, New Zealand 515. Have a good day.
New Zealand 225 Lima, Auckland Tower, wind tree.
Approaching
20
runway
at 5,
2,
runway
3
23 left,
left.
cleared to land.
Runway 23 left cleared to land, New Zealand 225 Lima.
New Zealand 225 Lima, exit right at Alpha 8.
Exit right at Alpha 8, New Zealand 225 Lima.
New Zealand 515, holding short, runway 23 left.
New Zealand
Line up
515, runway 23
Take off
left,
runway
line up and
23
wait.
left.
Line up and
23
wait.
left.
Runway 23 left, New
Confirm.
Zealand 515.
TCAS.
Set.
PAX.
Set.
New Zealand 515,
Cabin crew.
Auckland Tower,
Cabin
wind
crew
tree
prepare for
20 at
takeoff.
5, runway 23
Notified.
left, cleared for takeoff.
Line up checklist completed.
Runway 23 left, cleared for takeoff, New Zealand 515.
New Zealand 009 Mike. Holding short, runway 23 left.
New Zealand 009 Mike, hold short of 23 left.
On runway 23
Affirm.
left.
Hold short of 23 left for traffic. New Zealand 009 Mike.
Man flex. SRS.
Thrust set.
New Zealand 009 Mike, runway 23 left, line up and wait.
100 knots.
Checked.
Line up and wait. Runway 23 left. New Zealand 009 Mike.
B1. Rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up.
Gear up. 400 feet.
All aircraft be advised, information Gulf now currents. QA 9H0988.
Acceleration altitude.
New Zealand 515, contact Auckland departure 129.6.
Autopilot.
Contact Auckland departure
Autopilot 1 on.
129.6, New Zealand 515.
Flaps up.
Auckland departure New Zealand 515. Good day, 2,000 feet.
Flaps up.
New Zealand 515, Auckland departure identified. Climb to flight level 190.
Climb to flight level 190, New Zealand 515.
Passing 10,000 feet.
Auckland departure identified. Climb to 10,000 feet.
Transition
Climb to
altitude.
10,000 feet.
Check.
7401.
3.2, New Zealand 515. Have a good day. New Zealand Center, New Zealand 515, crossing flight level 167 for flight level 190, direct to Pi.
New Zealand 515, New Zealand Center, radar contact, climb to flight level 380.
Climb to flight level 380, New Zealand 515.
New Zealand Centre, New Zealand 009 Mike, passing 7,600 feet for 10,000 feet.
New Zealand 009 Mike, New Zealand Centre, good day identified, climb to flight level 160.
Climb to flight level 160, New Zealand 009 Mike.
New Zealand 260 Lima, New Zealand Center, expect radar vectors, runway 340.
Expect radar vectors, runway 34, New Zealand 260 Lima.
New Zealand 260 Lima, radar vectors, runway 34E. Report ready for descent.
Radar vectors, runway 34, ready for descent, New Zealand 260 Lima.
New Zealand 260 Lima, Taronga Airport landing runway 34.
Taronga Airport, landing runway 34, New Zealand 260 Lima.
New Zealand 260 Lima, contact Christchurch information approach 123.8.
Contact Christchurch information approach 123.8, New Zealand 260 Lima.
New Zealand Center, Chatham 401, out of 7,600 feet for 10,000 feet. Chatham 401, New Zealand Center, radar contact, climb to flight level 190. Climb to flight level 190, Chatham 401. flight level 190. I show you at flight level 200. Descend to flight level 190.
Roger. Descend to flight level 190. Chatham 401.
From the flight deck, we've reached our cruising altitude. We hope you enjoyed today's flight. We'll certainly do our best to make it as enjoyable as possible. When the seatbelt sign is off, you're free to get up and move about the cabin. However, when seated, please keep your seatbelt fastened as turbulence can occur at any time. Thanks again and welcome aboard.
New Zealand Centre, Chatham 591, good day. Through 15,000 feet for flight level 180.
Chatham 591 New Zealand Central. Good day identified. Climb to flight level 361.
Climb to flight level 361, Chatham 591.
New Zealand 889 Lima. New Zealand Centre expect NOCAD. 5 Bravo, runway 16.
Expect NOCAD 5 Bravo, runway 16, New Zealand 889 Lima.
New Zealand for 29, you are assigned flight level 320. I show you at flight level 308. Climb to flight level 320.
Roger, climb to flight level 320, New Zealand 429. New Zealand Centre, Jetstar 233, passing flight level 151 for flight level 180 direct to Pi.
Okay, Quebec Alpha, New Zealand Centre expect time 2 Bravo, runway 34.
Expect
616 New Zealand Center. Expect Davy 4 Echo, runway 23 left.
Expect Davy 4 Echo, runway 23 left, New Zealand 616.
Squawk 8 Quebec Alpha, you were assigned flight level 130. I show you at flight level 119er. Climb to flight level 130.
Wilco, climb to flight level 130, Quebec Alpha.
Skull K Quebec Alpha, Panya 2 Bravo, runway 34, report ready for descent.
Pania 2 Bravo, runway 34, ready for descent. Skull Quebec Alpha.
Skull K Quebec Alpha, descend to 9,000 feet, QNH 0989er.
Descend to 9,000 feet, Skull Quebec Alpha.
Skull K Quebec Alpha, contact Napier traffic, approach 118.1.
Contact Napier traffic approach 118.1, Quebec Alpha.
Jetstar 233, you were assigned flight level 360. I show you at flight level 371. Descend to flight level 360.
Roger, descend to flight level 360, Jetstar 233.
New Zealand 616, Davy 4 Echo, runway 23 left. Report ready for descent.
Davy 4 Echo, runway 23 left, ready for descent, New Zealand 616.
New Zealand 616, descend to 10,000 feet, QNH 0989er.
Descend to 10,000 feet, New Zealand 616.
New Zealand 889 Lima, contact Wellington approach 122.3.
Contact Wellington approach 122.3, New Zealand 889 Lima.
New Zealand 515, New Zealand Center. Expect us 1 Bravo, runway 20. New Zealand 515, New Zealand Center. Expect us 1 Bravo, runway 20. New Zealand 515, New Zealand Center.
Expect FS1 Bravo, runway 20, New Zealand 515. New Zealand 515, approaching our top of descent, ready for descent.
New Zealand 515, Elvis 1 Bravo, runway 20, descend to 12,000 feet, QNH 0993.
Up S1 Bravo, runway 20, descend to 12,000 feet, New Zealand 515.
Approaching top of descent.
New Zealand 009 Mike, you were assigned flight level 160. I show you at flight level 1 for Niner. Climb to flight level 160.
Wilco, climb to flight level 160, New Zealand 009 Mike.
New Zealand 009 Mike, radar vectors. Report ready for descent.
From the flight deck,
Radar
we've started our
vectors,
descent.
ready for
Expect to
descent.
arrive to
New
the
Zealand
gate in
009
20 to
Mike.
25 minutes. It's been our pleasure having you on board with us today. We look
New
forward to
Zealand
seeing you again
009
on a
Mike,
future
Napier
flight.
Airport landing runway 07. Sunshine.
Napier Airport, landing runway 07, New Zealand 009 Mike.
New Zealand 009. Mike, contact Napier traffic approach 118.1.
Contact Napier traffic approach 118.1, New Zealand 009 Mike. Approach checklist.
Approach briefing. We're expecting the ILS approach for runway 20. The minimum altitude is 200 feet. We'll use auto brakes medium. We can expect to park at gate. In case of go around, we'll climb per ATC instructions on the runway heading. Any questions?
No.
Completed.
Error reference 1013.
Checked.
Passenger signs.
On.
Minimums 200.
Checked.
Auto brakes.
Set.
Engine mode.
Set.
Approach checklist completed.
Zealand for 29, New Zealand Center. Expect to Papa Tree Delta with the Papa transition, runway 16.
Expect Papa Tree Delta with the Papa transition, runway 16, New Zealand 429.
Christchurch approach, New Zealand 515, descending via UpBest 1 Bravo, flight level 180 with information. Charlie.
New Zealand 515 Christchurch approach, good day, QNH099 tree. Expect the ILS runway 20 with the Odyssey transition.
QNH099 expect the ILS runway 20 with the Odyssey transition, New Zealand 515.
Transition altitude. Checked.
Zealand 515, descend to 7,000 feet, QNH 099 at tree.
Descend to 7,000 feet. QNH 099 New Zealand 515.
Passing 10,000 feet.
New Zealand 515, descend to 6,000 feet.
Descend to 6,000 feet, New Zealand 515.
Watch your airspeed.
New Zealand 515, descend
Autopilot
to
1
2,000
on.
feet.
Descend to 2,000 feet, New Zealand 515.
Approach mode.
Approach mode on.
New Zealand 515, cleared direct at easy, cross at easy at or above 2,000 feet, cleared ILS runway 20.
Cleared direct Odyssey, cross Odyssey at or above 2,000 feet, cleared ILS runway 20, New Zealand 515.
Flaps 1. Flaps 2. Gear down. Flaps 3. Flaps 4. Landing checklist. Go around altitude.
New Zealand 515, contact Christchurch
Cabin
Tower,
crew.
118.4, bye-bye.
Notify.
Contact Tower 118.4, New Zealand 515.
Speed brake armed.
Landing no
Christchurch
blue.
Tower, New Zealand
Landing checklist
515,
completed.
ILS runway 20.
New Zealand 515, Christchurch Tower. Wind 225 at 5, runway 20 cleared to land.
Runway 20 cleared to land, New Zealand 515.
All aircraft be advised information delta now current, QNH 099 a tree.
Cabin crew, prepare for landing.
Unstable.
Jetstar 236, holding short, runway 20.
Jetstar 236, hold short of 20.
Minimums.
Affirmative, hold short of 20 for traffic, Jetstar 236.
$50, $40, $30, $20, set, retard.
Spoilers.
Jetstar 236, runway 20, line up and wait.
Line up and
70
wait,
knots.
runway 20,
Manual braking.
Jetstar 236.
New Zealand 515, exit next available taxiway.
Exit next available taxiway, New Zealand 515.
Jetstar 236, Christchurch Tower, wind 265 at 6, runway 20, cleared for takeoff.
After landing checklist. Radar
Runway
PWS.
20, cleared for
Off.
takeoff. Jetstar
After landing
236.
checklist completed.
New Zealand 515, contact ground 121.9er.
Ground 121.9er, New Zealand 515. New Zealand 515, request taxi to assigned gate.
New Zealand 515, gate 21 taxi via Alpha 4 Delta Foxtrot.
Gate 21 via Alpha 4, Delta Foxtrot, New Zealand 515.
New Zealand 550, contact Christchurch Tower 118.4.
Over to Tower 118.4, New Zealand 550. Have a good day.